most triathletes, the swim is the most daunting element, especially when it comes to open water. It can be quite intimidating making that transition from the pool to the outdoors. So today we're going to be talking you through our top tips to help build confidence in the swim. If you like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe to the channel. So Tim, let's start from the beginning. It's your first time going to open water. What is your first tip to give us?
First tip is definitely go with a friend. Take someone who maybe has swum open water before, they're a bit more experienced, and go to a place that's safe. You know, a facility like this, there are hundreds of them all over the country. But taking someone there is going to give you that safety blanket. It's going to give you that confidence, especially if they've been there before. They can help you even put on your wetsuit. The amount of times I've seen people with the zip on the front, not the back, it's absolutely hilarious. So yeah, definitely take a friend.
The bit that puts me off the most, or like I'm the most apprehensive about, is the temperature. It's meant to be summer, but it feels pretty cold today and it looks very cold in there.
That's where equipment is key. You wouldn't wear a size 7 shoe if you're a size 10. You need a wetsuit that fits you. There are rules within triathlon depending on the temperature if you can wear a wetsuit. You definitely need to do some research and have a wetsuit that fits you correctly. That keeps you warm, but it also does another key thing. When we swim, we need to do 2 things. Not sink, be nice and buoyant, and go forward. A wetsuit really helps with being buoyant. So again, that is going to give you that security. If you roll on your back, put your hand in the air, you're going to float on the top of the water.
Okay, so we've got a wetsuit that fits us, but is it going to keep us warm?
Absolutely. These wetsuits are made of neoprene. They're flexible around the shoulders so you can swim. That's the fit. But this neoprene traps a thin layer of water which your body heats up, and they really do keep you warm. But saying that, I wouldn't get to the lake, dive in straight away, because you could get that shock. You need to go in slowly. There's definitely a correct way to enter cold water.
Yeah, I would recommend taking a few minutes to acclimatise. So I get myself in there nice and slowly. I take the time getting used to the temperature, putting my cap on, putting my earplugs in, putting my foam goggles on, and just let my body adjust, because it is a bit colder than it is outdoors. Before you put your head under and take a swim.
Absolutely. I think those first couple of minutes swimming are crucial, because once you come out of breath and you lose that confidence, then really, you know, it's not an enjoyable experience. So again, you want to enter the water, you know, nice and slowly, like you said, get used to the temperature, and then you're ready to go.
Yeah, I think that's one of the key things when it comes to swimming, whether you're in a pool or open water, especially if you are a beginner or you're not the most confident when it comes to swimming. I know I'm not. I really have to consciously think about staying calm, focus on my breathing, and if the temperature's cold, like you said, and you've gone into it too quick, you don't want to lose your breath, panicking. So definitely taking the time so you start the swim in a nice, calm headspace and focusing on that nice, slow, controlled breath.
Another great top tip is go to the swim with a plan to execute, either a session that you can use, or you know you're going to swim for 1 hour, or you're going to swim hard and easy. And the foam goggle is just a great thing to help you do that. It can take all those metrics from the swimming pool to open water.
Another thing I'd recommend if you are new to open water swimming and you've maybe never done it before is not to come with the pressure on yourself to do X amount of distance or X amount of hours in the water. For your first time, you might just want to come try it out and do a short distance to get used to it. Now, in the pool, we've got the luxury of being able to count how far we've gone, but we obviously don't have that when it comes to being in a lake, which is why I love my foam goggles so much, so I can see exactly how far I've gone. So definitely when I'm getting back into the lake after the winter of being in the pool, I don't go out too far. I actually just measure maybe what would be a length or 2 of a pool, come back, just check I'm calm, I'm like ready to go again. And with this, we can actually measure exactly how far we've gone.
Seeing those live metrics while you're swimming is just such an invaluable thing. Swimming open water, the downside is very hard to measure our effort level, our speed, our stroke rate, our pace. And with the foam goggle, it does all of that for you, and it's right there in front of your eyes. I really think that this could be a game changer, swimming open water, whether you're a Max Stapley, Alex Yee, Cassandra Beaugrand, or you're a first timer. This is going to give you confidence in open water because you're going to know how far you've gone. But it's also good for your training. You're going to be able to see improvements. It's very, very easy to see improvements in a measured distance like a swimming pool, but to see that transferred to open water, it can be quite tough. And I think these are a great product to help you for that.
Definitely, and I think for me as well, because I do feel a bit nervous about being in the water, the last thing I want to be doing is stopping, checking my watch midway through, so having it all there in front of me so I can just focus on moving forward, getting round the lake or to wherever distance I'm going to without having to stop and check things is just really useful.
Absolutely, but I think the key is that data is brilliant, but it's only part of it. And I think having it is great, but what you've got to remember is you won't swim as fast open water as you will in the pool, because there could be a current, there could be wind, you know, you might be swimming on someone's feet, you know, turning around the buoys, you slow down, you're not getting those little rests when you tumble turn. So don't be disheartened if you're like, wow, I'm 4 seconds or 10 seconds, 100 meters slower open water. Once you've done a few swims with the Form goggles, you're really going to know your open water pace, and that's the target pace to improve.
Yeah, absolutely. I love comparing my pool speed compared to my open water speed. And sometimes the open water is actually faster because of the buoyancy of my wetsuit, depending how confident I feel that day or the current, if there is one. But there is definitely a subtle difference. So it's kind of like adjusting your session pace, expectations to the conditions. Now, I'm not going to lie, the biggest thing I'm most nervous about when it comes to open water swimming is the thought of what is in there with me. I am terrified at the thought of a fish swimming near me, coming towards me, or just seeing something that I just want to pretend is not in there. So in all honesty, the biggest and best thing for me about these Form goggles is that I am distracted looking at my session and my pace, focusing on that rather than thinking, oh my gosh, there's so much water around me, what is in here with me?
Yeah, that's great because I definitely agree. There are times when in your peripheral vision, even if you're in a lake or a river, you might think, what's that? But if you've got something else to focus on, and the great thing is you're not just focusing on what you're having for dinner tonight, you're really focusing on your effort, your pace, your stroke, and that will have advantages to going quicker. So I definitely think that's an extra benefit that Form goggles have for everyone. I'd always recommend as well swimming with a toe float. Some water venues make it mandatory, but others don't. It just gives you that little bit of confidence. Everyone can see you. If you're swimming in the sea, boats, paddle boarders, stand-up paddle boarders, they can see you. But also when you want your rest, you can hold on to it. You can have a rest and relax, and then you can go again.
And that's the same with perhaps accessories like swim caps, have something bright,
I like that.
So people can see you. But like we said, bring a friend so you've always got somebody watching out for you. But generally any kind of open water swim venue, providing it's not the sea, will have somebody there looking out for you. So if you've signed up for your first open water triathlon, how far in advance do you think you should start training in the lake to build up that confidence before the race?
Definitely not the day before. I would really recommend as early as possible. It would be amazing if most venues are open in the evenings and on the weekends, some quite early before work as well. But it is definitely worth swimming 3, maybe 4 times minimum before the race. Because on race day, you're nervous enough as it is. Putting your number on, racking your bike, you want to have that extra confidence that you've done your homework, that you know you wouldn't ride your bike for the first time on race day. So I really say as early as possible. And yes, the first couple of times might be very easy swims, but then start doing some sessions, really start swimming hard, practice swimming round the buoys, practice sighting so you can swim in a straight line. There are so many different facets of open water swimming that you can really home in on to improve your race day experience.
I always like to use it as a practice for my transition as well. Very rarely do you have your wetsuit on, so practice getting it off nice and quick. So every time you're at the lake, why not add some transition practice in as well?
I like that. The last 50 metres, swim hard into the shore, run past everyone, whip that wetsuit off as quick as possible, because it's just practice. And transitions are such a short part of triathlon, yet they can really fluster people and they set their bike off on the wrong leg. So yeah, practicing transitions when you swim in open water is also key.
I know we mentioned swimming with a buddy, and after a few times of going to the lake with a friend, I actually joined a group session, and that really helped build my confidence. Swimming with not only having people around me to kind of replicate a race environment, but also learning from people, practicing sighting, things like that. Like group sessions really did build that confidence in the water.
That's a great idea, because when the gun goes in the race, there can be 100, 200, 300 people starting together, and if you've just swam with a friend or on your own, it's a totally different experience. Yeah. And I think you can learn where you feel comfortable within a group. If you breathe, look into your left, I would swim on the right so you can see everybody, and vice versa. If you breathe to the right, swim on the left. If you're not the fastest swimmer, then maybe don't start in the front row, because everyone's going to come over the top.
Yeah.
And you want to swim close to people to get a bit of an advantage. We call that drafting. You can save up to 20% of your energy by swimming on someone's feet or actually on their hip right next to them. All of these things could be your next phase to train. But again, I always like to say, train how you race. And that's a great idea, to swim with a group, feel that hustle and bustle, turning a buoy, getting out the water. And also when you're doing that, it makes you want to know you're swimming in a straight line, so you can practice not just breathing to your left or to your right, but lifting your head up and looking forward as well.
Definitely. And then I think my final tip would be, we've obviously talked about the cold water and that being one of the most daunting parts about it. So think about the getting out the water afterwards. I pack a nice warm jacket, make sure you've got the towel. Some people like to wrap their clothes in hot water bottles, maybe bring a flask with some coffee if we're in the car afterwards, just so the whole thing is a bit more inviting for afterwards and you're not put off before you've even got in.
Absolutely, and that's going to help your recovery as well, because you know you are going to get out maybe a bit chilly, especially in the spring when the lakes and the waters are not as warm, and you don't want to be shivering, because that's what's going to stick in your mind, not the great experience. I think preparation is key for having a great open water swim.
We hope you found these tips useful. We hope they're going to help you build that confidence in open water swimming. So let us know how you get on, if you have got any open water triathlons coming up soon, and if you've got any more tips that you'd like to add, please let us know in the comments, and we will see you on the next video.